In this video, we're going to look at how to launch the Monitor tool from Power App Studio and look at the results after you've done some activities in the application. I'm going to start by going over to the Advanced section and choosing Open Monitor to launch the activity monitor. To make it easier to see in this video, I've arranged the windows side by side so you can see the monitor at the same time as the application. I'm going to go ahead in the application in Power App Studio and click the Preview button to run the application. I'm going to go ahead and do some actions in the application, and you'll see that as I do things, it's tracking the activity over in the Monitor tool. Now I'm going to maximize the monitor window so we can look at some of the data that it's captured. It's captured the events in time order so you can see when they happen, and it's categorized them by user action or network so you can get an idea of what was happening at that particular time. It also captures what the operation is, so we can see that this was a select and this was a get rows, and we can see whether it was successful or failed. You can also see how long the action took. We can see that getting the rows of contacts took 67 milliseconds. Not bad. If that had been a lot longer, that might be something we'd focus on improving in our application. You can also see the control and the property that was involved with that particular event. Now, if we click on this, it launches the detail panel on the property side, and we can investigate more about that particular event. We can change from event to event, seeing different details for each event. And you can see it highlights the details at a high level, the formula that was involved. And if you want to dive in deeper, you can look at the request and the response to see the low-level details that transpired as the activity went across the network and the response came back. When you're ready to record more activity and try again, you can fix the application problem that you encountered, clear the data, rerun the application, and repeat the process until you've resolved all your problems. And that's how easy it is to get started with Monitor. In this video, we're going to look at how to use Power Apps Monitor to determine what your Canvas app is doing during its application load time. We're going to start by going to the application on Start, and we're going to go ahead and instrument it with some trace calls so we can see specifically when the formulas in App on Start begin and when they end. We're going to add another trace call at the end of the formulas. And we're going to go ahead and launch Monitor, which you can do from here. But this is not how we want to measure it, but we'll go ahead and do this so you can kind of see how this works. Once Monitor launches, we'll go back, and we can manually run the app on Start because it's already run by going to the tree view, going to Run on Start, and then we can look at what the application did during that on Start, and we can see the get rows, the clear collect, the my profile, and the trace begin and end. But we don't see everything, as we'll see when we run the application from a cold start from the published version. So what I recommend doing is, instead of doing the monitor like this, go ahead and go to Settings. We're going to enable Debug a Published Application. We're going to go ahead and save our application, publish it so it's the published version. Go back to our list of applications. Now, from the ellipsis, we're going to go to More Commands, and we're going to go to Monitor from there. This will allow us to start the application using the published version of the application. So once it's loaded up, you'll get the Play Published Application. You'll go ahead and click on that. Our application will load. You can tell it's running in Monitor because it has the little red dot. And we'll go back to our list, and this is now our new trace. And you'll notice that there's a couple extra things that we ended up getting in here running the published version that we did not see when we simply ran the on start. And that's why we recommend, when you're trying to see what's really happening when your application starts up, that you do a cold start from the menu running the published version. And that's how you configure and set that up to be able to do it. In this video, we're going to look at how to configure Azure Application Insights to capture telemetry for our Power Apps Canvas application. We're going to start by going over to the Azure portal and creating a new resource. We're going to choose Azure Application Insights and create a new resource that we're going to configure for our application. The first thing is we're going to create a new resource group. It is up to you to decide if you want to put this application insights in its own resource group, or if you want to configure for one that you already have existing. Resource groups are just ways to kind of group resources in Azure to make them easier to manage. You'll notice that I wanted to use the name of my application, but you can't have spaces in my name, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the spaces and just call it Contact Manager. Just follow the prompts on the restrictions around some of the naming and you'll do fine. Go ahead and say OK. For the name, we'll call this Contact Manager. Now you want to choose a region that is closest to your environment. So if your environment's in the US, you want to choose a US region. If your environment's in Europe, you want to choose a region that's from Europe. Generally, you want the telemetry to travel as little as possible to get to the Azure Application Insights. We're going to go ahead and review and create. It'll go ahead and take a second to set up our Azure Application Insights instance. Okay, now that our deployment has been completed, our Azure Application Insights is ready to use. We can click on Go to Resources. That'll take us to the instance. And what we want to do is copy the instrumentation key. This is the key ID that we need to configure in our Canvas application. So we'll copy that, go back to Power App Studio. Now where you configure that is you click on the app in the tree view, and then over on the right-hand side, there's an instrumentation key that does not currently have a value. We'll paste in that instrumentation key from the Azure Application Portal. We'll go ahead and save our application and publish it. And now the next time somebody runs our application outside of Power App Studio, so in other words, just like a normal user, they'll start collecting telemetry that will be visible in Azure Application Insights, and you can analyze the usage of your application.